1 year ago, I made a video seeking out the best mini electric bike pump. And ever since then, I've been carrying the winner of that test, the Cycplus AS2 Pro. Been super happy with it, and it's been on over 10,000 miles of adventures. But in just 12 months, the electric bike pump tech has exploded. It seems like everyone is making an electric bike pump now, and it's become an all-out war for your saddlebag. Today, we're not just looking at one or two of these electric bike pumps, but we're putting 15 of the top brands to the test. From the ultra-tiny Cycplus AS2 Ultra to heavy hitters like the Prestaflator Go. To find a true champion, I'm putting every pump through a gauntlet of tests. Each pump can earn up to 3 points across 11 categories grouped into 4 buckets. First bucket, portability. This includes size and weight, the measurables. Then you have performance, battery life, accuracy, heat management, max pressure, and speed. Then next is the user experience. We'll take a look at noise, build quality, and ease of use. And then a category all its own is price. How much do these suckers cost? A perfect score is 33 points. Some of these are absolute game changers, and others, well, they might leave you a little deflated. So let's jump in and see which pump earns the crown. We all know size matters, but in your saddlebag, smaller is better. To determine size, I measured the largest width, height, and depth of each pump. Most of these pumps have a pump head that sticks out, and that was included in the overall dimensions. The results? Cycplus absolutely owns the podium here. The old school AS2 is still the reigning champ, with the AS2 Ultra hot on its heels. The old Flextail Tiny Bike Pump is the only non-Cycplus pump to earn maximum points here. On the other end of the scale, the Fanttik X9 Ace is the portly giant of the group, earning 0 points for size. With the top sizes being so close, I'm going to call this a two-way tie between the original Cycplus AS2 and the new AS2 Ultra. In cycling, we all know that weight is the holy grail, and the Cycplus AS2 Ultra blew me away at a mind-boggling 88 grams. That's lighter than a granola bar. The AS2 and AS2 Ultra got 3 points. Anything under 130 grams is still crazy light and got 2 points. While the big boys, the AS2 Pro Max and Fanttik X9, got a goose egg for weighing over 200 grams. Cycplus takes the top spot again, with the featherweight champion being the svelte Cycplus AS2 Ultra. Nobody comes close. Next up is battery life, and while the Fanttik X9 Ace struggled with size, this is where its girth really shines. I tested how many times these pumps could inflate a 29 by 2.4 inch mountain bike tire to 22 PSI. The Fanttik didn't just win, it destroyed the competition with 11 full inflations. It was such an outlier, I broke my own rules and gave it 4 points. 3 pumps got 3 points each for their performance, and most of the other pumps managed 5 rounds, scoring 2 points. But the tiny OG, Flextail, and AS2 pumps, they struggled in this category, walking away with no points. The undisputed battery champ is the Fanttik X9 Ace. It doesn't matter how fast you hit 22 PSI if the pump is lying to you. I tested every internal sensor against my trusted toe peak gauge. The results? I was shocked. I was shocked to see the top 3, the Flextail Tiny 200, the AeroGoGo Giga Pump, and the Prestaflator Go nailed the target every single time. The next 5 pumps were all within 1 PSI, which is to spec and also super impressive. Then you have the Airbank Pocket Pro and Cycplus AS2 Ultra, which feel like they're guessing with a deviation as high as 5 PSI. Clearly we have a 3-way tie for the accuracy crown. Then there's temperature. These things can get pretty toasty. If a pump gets too hot to touch without a silicone sleeve, it's losing points. I measured the hottest spot after 1 full inflation of a 700 by 43 gravel tire to 38 PSI. The testing was done in a cold garage, so some of the pumps didn't even get up to room temperature. 5 pumps impressively stayed below 80 degrees and got max points. Anything under 100 degrees got 2 points, And if you're under 120 degrees, that was the cutoff for 1 point. The hottest of the group was the Prestaflator Go. The pump was surprisingly cool, except for one screw on the bottom of the pump. It got crazy hot, reaching 132 degrees. This also was the only pump that I needed the silicone sleeve during the battery tests. All these pumps got significantly hotter with the back-to-back-to-back battery test inflation, but that isn't a real-world scenario. The Flextail Tiny Pump Pro took the crown with a chilling 60 degrees. Time is the ultimate currency when you're stuck in a rainstorm or losing daylight. So for this test, we're timing how long it takes each pump to get a 29 by 2.4 inch mountain bike tire from 0 to 22 PSI and a 700 by 43 gravel tire from 0 to 38 PSI. To earn 3 points, a pump had to finish in under 60 seconds. If it took over 90 seconds, it's a 0. The Magic Shine Aero, Cycplus AS2 Pro, and Cycplus AS2 Pro Max are absolute rockets getting max points. The Airbank Pocket Pro and Cycplus AS2 Ultra also got max points with a bit of an asterisk because they both came up well short of the target PSI. It's easier to get a fast time when you take a shortcut. When it comes to speed, the Magic Shine shines and wins the race. As for sound, they all sound like a jackhammer at 6 a.m. Really, none of these sound great. They're all pretty loud. Most of the pumps finished in the 80 decibel range and got 2 points. But the Fanttik pumps and the AeroGogo Gigapump were in the 70s and scored max points. Also, the Fanttik pumps have a lower and more pleasant, if you can call it that, tone, with the X10 Ace Mini winning the category. Manufacturers love to claim high PSI values, but can they back it up? For this test, we'll be seeing if the pumps can actually reach the advertised max pressure. This isn't about accuracy or time, it's just a simple yes or no. Can the pump reach its advertised max? Out of 15 pumps, only 6 were able to reach their advertised max pressure. The Flextail Tiny Pump 200, AeroGogo Gigapump, ASMAX T30, Magic Shine Aero, Airbank Pocket Pro, and the Fanttik X9 Ace. Flextail Tiny 200 was the star here, actually reaching its 130 PSI ceiling. Many others fell well short, proving that max PSI on the box is often just a suggestion. Usability is the X factor. A pump may have great numbers, but it also has to be easy to use. I found those with displays on the side worked best. No matter where the valve was, I was always able to position the pump so I could see the gauge. The top 3 pumps all had this. In addition, the Prestaflator Go has the best pump head by far. It slips onto a Presta valve easily and holds on tight. It's big and bulky, but it's a pleasure to use. The next 8 pumps all worked great and were easy to use with or without gloves, with cold hands, etc. But there were also no standout features either, so they all got 2 points. I found both the Flextail Tiny Tire Pump 200 and Pro to be a bit finicky to get on the tire valves. There were multiple times where they failed to inflate because they weren't properly pressed onto the valve. The Prestaflator's amazing pump head is the feature that moved it ahead of the rest to take the top spot in this category. Speaking of features, let's take a look at the feature breakdown of these pumps. There's no points here, but there are some key differences. First off, we have the Flextail Tiny Pump 200, which is pretty unique. It has a built-in taillight and it's the only one you can mount to your seat post. The mount includes covers for the pump head and USB-C port, making it the only waterproof pump in the market. The AeroGogo Gigapump and ASMAX T30 both include a tiny light right next to the pump head so you can see what you're doing when you're inflating tires late at night. Most of the pumps include a hose, which makes things a bit easier, but also help with heat if you're using TPU tube. Lastly, a few pumps include silicone sleeves. Whether it's included or extra, these tend to be the pumps that run a little hotter, making the sleeve useful. Then there's build quality. I let each of these pumps rattle around in a frame bag for a few hundred miles before doing any of the testing. So they've all proven to be both durable and trustworthy. That said, there's a definite difference in overall feel across the pumps. The Magic Shine Aero feels incredibly solid. It pays the price a bit on weight, but it's also built to last. I accidentally dropped this pump 3 feet onto a concrete floor, and I can't find a scratch. The Flextail Tiny Pump 200, Fanttik X9 Ace Mini, and Flextail Tiny Bike Pump all feel extremely solid as well. This earned each of these pumps 3 points. The next 9 pumps are all well built, but I would classify them more as meeting rather than exceeding expectations. While many of the pumps are made of plastic, the ASMAX T30 feels very plasticky. It's a hard plastic that feels like it could crack and gives it a light, hollow feel. The Prestaflator Go is overall well built, but the buttons rattle. If the buttons were rubber instead of hard plastic, this could possibly be eliminated. The winner for build quality is the Magic Shine Aero. For many of us, this next category is possibly the most important. It's price. A quick disclaimer, prices in this category are incredibly volatile. While these were the numbers at the time of filming, they fluctuate almost daily. That said, whether on sale or at MSRP, the price hierarchy stays pretty much the same. For this category, any pump under $50 US earned maximum points. Any pump that's under $100 got 2 points, and any pump over $100 got 1 point. With just 3 cents separating the top 2, I gave the win to both the Fanttik X9 Ace and the Cycplus Tiny X1. We've seen a lot of data, so now let's take a look at the results. The top 3 pumps are the AeroGoGo Giga Pump with 28 points, the Magic Shine Aero with 26 points, and the Flextail Tiny Tire Pump 200 with 25 points. The AeroGoGo didn't just win on points. The more I used it, the more I found it was my favorite to use. It's easy, feels good in my hand, and works great. I was surprised to see the pump that has been loyally serving me over the last year, the Cycplus AS2 Pro, to finish down in 10th place. I've been super happy with it over this time, so I feel pretty good recommending this pump and the 9 others that beat it. Looking at my top picks, obviously the AeroGoGo Giga Pump is the best overall. It scored well across the board and excelled in accuracy, temperature, sound, and usability. This pump is a pleasure to use. If you run high tire pressures, then the best pump for you is the Flextail Tiny Tire Pump 200. It also scored well across the board, but with a max of 130 PSI, it can meet all your high pressure needs. While the best overall pump is pretty affordable, the Cycplus Tiny X1 is an amazing value. It's consistently one of the least expensive pumps out there, yet it performed admirably in all the tests. And for you weight weenies out there, the Cycplus AS2 Ultra is the best ultralight pump. It's crazy small and light. You sacrifice a little accuracy and pay a premium, but it's an impressive pump. Ultimately, you can't go wrong with any of these pumps. And if you're still on the fence about why you'd ever want one, check out this video where I talk about my first electric mini pump experience and why I made the switch.